Słuchasz podcastu Agni-ajurweda zrozumiale i dostępnie, odcinek 90. W tym odcinku zapraszam Cię do wysłuchania rozmowy w języku angielskim, jaką odbyłam z Kate Rusco. Zapraszam Cię do wysłuchania rozmowy, która jest jak podróż w czasie i pokazuje to, co w Stanach już się dzieje, a niebawem będzie się dziać także u nas. O czym mówię? O tym, że najpierw znajdujesz zawód swoich marzeń. W przypadku Kate to zawód astrolożki, ale i w tym zawodzie, w zawodzie marzeń wybranym z serca, możesz dojść do momentu, w którym chcesz się zatrzymać, chcesz przestać go wykonywać i otworzyć się na nowe podszepty Dharmy. Rozmowa z Kate pokazuje, co znaczy wolność do eksplorowania Dharmy i przekraczania tego, o czym myślałaś, że w ogóle nie będziesz chciała tego zmieniać. Serdecznie zapraszam. Witam Cię w podcaście Agni-ajurweda zrozumiale i dostępnie. Nazywam się Maria Nowak-Szabat. Wspólnie z mężem Michałem od 8 lat prowadzę agni-ajurweda. Pomagam kobietom skorzystać z ajurwedy w życiu osobistym i zawodowym. W każdym odcinku otworzysz serce i umysł na tą piękną, starożytną wiedzę o życiu. Przede wszystkim będę mówić o tym, jak ajurweda służy na ścieżce zawodowej. Niezależnie od tego, czy jesteś konsultantką ajurwedy, marzysz o tym, żeby nią zostać, albo prowadzisz inny biznes, który chcesz zamienić w holistyczny biznes, czyli w biznes, który szanuje Twoje pięty achillesowe, w którym wiesz, jak je chronić i doskonale wiesz, jakie masz asy w rękawie. Ajurweda jest prosta, ale jej zrozumienie i zastosowanie w codziennym życiu, także w życiu zawodowym, wymaga wsparcia. Od zawsze była przekazywana w relacji nauczyciel-uczeń w formie otwierających serce i umysł opowieści. Bardzo się cieszę, że mogę się z Tobą dzielić moją pasją i doświadczeniem z prowadzenia 8 lat firmy w tej przestrzeni. Firmy, która stała się 7-cyfrowym, holistycznym biznesem. Bardzo się cieszę, że spędzisz ten czas ze mną i starą, mądrą ajurwedą. Hello, Kate. So good to have you finally in my podcast. Thank you for coming.
Hi, Maria. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, we found each other quite some time ago in the same program that we are in. And finally, we met to really dive into your professional and personal changes.
Mm-hmm.
But first, please introduce yourself, who you are and what you do at the moment or before.
Yeah, my name is Kate Rusco, and I live in Canada, in Montreal. And for the last 6 or so years, I've been a professional astrologer. I started studying that in 2013. And now I recently just retired myself as an astrologer. I don't want to do readings anymore. And I'm going to focus on my writing. I started writing pretty intensely last December. And in 6 months, I completed 3 versions of one book and the first version of the second. And then the 6 months were over and I felt like I felt drawn back into astrology and working. And, as fate would have it, I realized that I need to get to the next adventure for myself. And so I really felt very strongly, guided by my own astrology chart, that it was time to let go of being a consultant and focus on, on the writing, on the creativity. I'm a very creative person. I used to be a painter for about 15 years. I did painting. Yeah. And then I was just very devoted to my painting practice, less and less devoted to showing my paintings to people, which is really interesting. Got to the point I realized I don't really care what people think of my paintings. I just love painting. And then one day I heard about astrology, started studying it. And within a few months, I had signed on to become an astrologer, closed my studio and never painted again.
Oh, wow.
And and I realized it was just the painting served me so well for the time that I did it. And then it just was over. and astrology was the next adventure. And I went in full throttle, completely immersed myself in it and loved it. And now I feel like I'm kind of combining the creativity, like not that astrology is very creative, but writing allows me to be more creative. And so the creativity with my knowledge of spirituality and astrology, so I can combine that into what I'm writing.
So how does it feel to do something, to choose something that you really love, and then to come to the point when you feel you just can't do it any longer? And not because you are tired, not because you have enough of this. It's just, what kind of feeling is it?
It's both times there's been a bit of an amazement factor to it. Like, oh, wow. Like, actually, I don't have to be a painter, because I was so invested in that idea. And all of a sudden I realized, actually, I can be whatever I want. Like, I don't have to be a painter. I don't have that label. And releasing myself from that was, I think, more like, it was the most worthwhile part of it. Going, I am not my label. I'm just me. And I'm going to pass through all different things. And I'm allowed actually to follow my feelings, not to have to feel that I have to be a master at everything or constantly going up to the next level. I just felt like something has to serve me. And when it stops serving me, I can let it go. And so the astrology as well, the astrology was more difficult to let go of, because the painting I could just stop. The astrology, I have clients, I have people who I serve. So that was more difficult. And I kind of pulled back a bit and then go back in and pull back, go back in. But then when it became clear to me that my own liberation as a person didn't lie in being giving that sort of service to someone, I could claim it. Like, I love my clients, I love working with people, but I can also say, actually, I need this time now for myself. And they're all going to thrive. They don't need me to thrive, and I can serve them in another way, because I tend to write and I tend to make an oracle deck and things I can share with people. And I'm actually curious, like, I want to know what that's like also to connect with people in that way, other than, through conversation and teaching and that sort of thing.
Wow. Advantage of speaking with someone from outside of Poland. We can talk about things like, how is it to actually quit astrology? Because many of my clients are in the stage of dreaming to become one.
Right.
And it will take them a few years until we will arrive to this point when they possibly thinking about quitting and actually evolving into different, other level of exploring and experiencing. And the second thought was, in your case, it's good to have a website with your name, like katerusco.com, because the offerings are changing over the years.
Well, I found actually having a website very limiting for me.
Okay. Yeah.
Because then I had to really define myself. So I have 2 different websites. I don't even want to give them to people anymore, because I realized I don't want to be defined. I want to just be able to do what I want. And we'll see when I come out with the books, when I come out with the cards of what I do. But I've realized too that ideas we have, things that we need, we don't actually need them. Like, all I needed, I would say to someone who's doing astrology, you don't really need a website. You just need a booking service, Calendly. You need to meet people, go places, let people know what you do, and you'll likely find your clients, and they'll send people to you. And I don't know, I realized the website and those things were not necessary for me.
Thank you for sharing this. Yeah, because we spoke about Elena before starting the recording, that you actually somehow heard about her. Then you jump over her webinar, seeing her for the first time, and you sign up for a pretty expensive program,
Yeah. And that was took maybe 45 minutes of watching her, and I'd never heard of her. I hadn't watched her TED Talk. No one had talked to me about her. I just felt led to her, and I thought, when she described the program, I have to do this. Like the astrology too. So I was studying it a bit on my own. And then I watched a video of an astrologer. He was being interviewed. And I thought, wow, he sounds so interesting. So I found his website and I saw that the day I was looking at it was the last day he was giving a discount on his program. Mm-hmm. So I thought, I like a deal. So I thought, oh my gosh. And I read his program of being an astrologer, and it just sounded so good because it involved yoga and going to places like Sedona and Santa Fe, places I've never been to before. And I thought, wow, that sounds so good. So I emailed me right back. And so I signed on within a couple of hours, even though that morning when I woke up, I had no intention of becoming an astrologer. But something just came like in front of me that was so fascinating. So I just jumped on it. Mind you, after I signed up, I didn't sleep for 2 weeks because I thought, oh my gosh, what have I done? Who are these people? I'd never had my chart read even. I'd never met an astrologer. So I thought, who are these people? And now I'm committed to go like for a week to meet these people. Like, what have I done? But in the end, it was the best decision ever. And I loved everyone that I met. It was just purely instinct. There was no logic behind it. I just followed what I wanted to do.
This is what it's mean to be guided.
Yeah. Yeah. I think life does present us with so many opportunities. And the thing is, sometimes we have to just trust.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We also recently spoke about it, that how does it feel to really deciding from the place without analyzing, without understanding on a logical level, that you just know, you just know yes, you just know no, you just know what to do. You cannot explain why and how you arrive to this conclusion, but you feel it's so true. And for us, people who are raised in a cult of analytical mind, is pretty exciting and quite new place to be. Yeah, I just know.
Absolutely. Yeah. When I left painting, people were like, I can't understand why you would leave painting. And I had such a hard time explaining, I don't hate painting. I love painting, but I'm drawn to something else. And now when I left, I said, I'm not doing astrology anymore. I had a bunch of people calling me, why have you left? And I realized I can't give them an explanation that will make them feel good about my decision. I just have to say, it's just me, my next step. I don't know why. I'll know why maybe 3-4 years down the line, and that's okay with me because I've done it a few times. I know that it's going to be okay. Actually, I know it's going to be great, but it's that first time that, feels very, I'm not nervous at all now. Actually, I'm extremely relaxed. Like I'm sleeping very well. But
you got used to it.
Yeah. But the first time was a bit of a shock to the system.
Yeah. It's even better than we are, we are talking about this because I know some of my clients are going through the decisions like this and they are scared of this different. It's almost like a different realm, a different space. The answer is just downloading itself without asking if you are ready or not. You just show in the way that you are ready. And what is interesting for me in your story, that it's not because you are bored or unsuccessful or like, because sometimes Vata, coming back to Ayurveda, Vata people have this tendency, this, after a few months, this, and then this, Chinese medicine, switch to Ayurveda, then something else, then astrology, among the others. But there is nothing like a last practice, like, few years of experience going in depth, really understanding and having this joy. Because when I met you, I felt that you really love what you are doing and you are really like diving deep and going into these juicy details and working with people. So it wasn't because you were like,
yeah, no, not at all. And I'm still leading a group actually through a workshop. And just this morning, I sent them their next homework and I was very excited by what it was. I thought, this is amazing. I love this. Yes. But I'm also willing to let it go. I also still feel that my feeling is right. There's something else I need to add to my own life.
It's happening. Yeah. Breaking news. to those who are listening. It's happening. Once you are on this path, sometimes the path may be changed.
Yeah. And, a few years ago when I was studying astrology, I was looking in the future to what's coming. And I saw that in 2025, at the spring equinox, which is the time that establishes the age that we're in. So what happens is when we're at 0 Aries, there's a constellation that's behind the spring equinox. So that's the age of, it used to be Pisces, and now we're moving slowly into Aquarius. That's why people are calling it the age of Aquarius. But the planet Neptune is going to be right there. And right there at the spring equinox, so to me, I thought, we're leaving linearity, because that's what Neptune does. It creates kind of a bit of a fog. It's a bit confusing. And you have to rely on your instincts. And I see that now really, it's playing out, that we are living in a world that's less and less linear. I mean, the whole COVID thing is so confusing. No one knows what's going on. No one has a certain set of directives. Everyone's sort of a bit overwhelmed by all the information. And the only thing you can do is rely on you, like what you feel is right for you. So the more we practice that in our own lives, the more we just get used to it, then it's not a shock. Because I don't feel nervous around COVID. I'm not worried. I feel very calm. But many people are panicked, I think, because they don't have a reliance on their own instincts, and they don't know that they're going to be okay, because they need something outside to be stable. But when you're stable inside, then anything can happen on the outside.
So welcome to new era, yeah? That's what you're saying, basically. It's just warming up, yeah? It will be better.
Yeah. And I think we're all being, kind of, gently or not so gently pushed into this. And for some of us, it'll feel natural. For some, it won't. But there's a lot of opportunity just also to let go of many old ways of being. And, the linear world is a world based on accomplishment. So nothing, you have to always get to the end of things. No, sometimes you don't. And like highly sensitive people like to dabble, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. That's all they need. We don't always need to go to the end, read every page of a book. You could read part of it, get what you need, and put it down and move on.
To be honest, I recently arrived to the place of just touching the book, which means that, I see the book, I'm ordering the book, it comes to my house, it's in my space. Yeah. And it's not that I'm reading through touching, not so far away yet, but just the presence of this book really gives me like this energetical support, and I don't really need to go inside. Yeah, with some books I do, but with some they are more like crystals, so to say. Yeah, you don't need to read through the crystal. Yeah, it's just present.
It's just present, because I have a lot of those books too. A lot of books on saints, but I don't really find I want to read them. But I love to look and see all those books on my bookshelf. So I love that, Maria. Beautiful.
I used to felt guilty, like, I'm the one just buying and not reading, such a waste. Yeah. And now, and then I realized that actually you can have this physical and energetical presence of the book. And if you can connect this with this and you feel it supports you, it's enough. Because sometimes people are reading, from the first page to the last, and it's gone, like it's nothing. Yeah. It doesn't leave the trace even.
It's so true. And like what you say too about having things around us that support us, whatever it may be, so important too now. Like just some energetic thing around us. It's amazing.
Yeah. So people, new era is coming. If you used to be analytical mind, because, based on your stories, like it happened to you a few times, like you said, first time you paid the price of being like, sleepless for 14 days. But now you just know you have this trust. And I found it really interesting for my clients who are sometimes from corporate jobs, works, the English language is like a second nature for them. And they used to be very analytical. There has to be a reason for every decision. So, for example, going to Greece or Italy, long list of reasons, plus and coins, and then we are choosing the right option. And now they are facing themselves taking decisions based on a completely different data, so to say. And sometimes they are like, am I weird? What's going on with me? How will I explain it to my friend, mom, husband, whatever? And it's good to know that there are more people like this, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. And also that, I think you get to the point where you realize you don't have to explain to people. And there are ways to sort of just do what you want to do and kind of circumvent the questions that might make you feel uncomfortable. But it's so important to follow your heart. And also just to be very clear on just setting intentions and allowing the universe to organize itself around your intentions instead of you doing all the work. One of the things I studied when I was studying astrology was also how to introduce people to their guides. And through doing these consultations with people, I realized that there are many angels around us, guides, if you will. And they're really, really, really bored because we spend all our time figuring out everything of our lives that they have nothing to do, because that's like spirit will never force itself on you. It waits for the opening, like the invitation. I need help. Someone, guidance, please help me. But if you want to organize every moment of your life, they will just back off, So it's really important to let friendly forces come in that we don't see, help us, like just bring people to us, bring opportunities, not think we have to do everything ourselves. Because if we do that, we will have to do everything ourselves. Because that's the intention we're giving to the universe. We're saying, oh, no, I'll do it. Don't help me. And it has to be this way. You never know how something has to be. Like when I have several astrology degrees. And when I did the first one, I was in love with the astrology. I loved it. It was fantastic. And then the minute I finished, by complete fluke, I met someone who gave me a handbook of this other astrology. And I thought, you got to be kidding me. I have to study something else now. But I did it, and it introduced me to a whole other group of people and a whole other way of thinking. So life just has a way of bringing what you need to you. I didn't have to go look for it. It just came.
Talking about board guides, I got this picture from Mulan. It's the Polish name. It's the same in English, isn't it?
Yeah, Mulan.
Yeah, there is like in the very first part of this movie, there is like the scene when the little dragon, so-called dragon,
is so great.
He's waking up the spirits. Yeah, like wake up, enough of this sleeping, and they are just like.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we have to kind of do. We have to back off in order to let them wake up and do something.
And sometimes it's the best advice, I also immediately saw the thyroid patients, thyroid clients, suffering from all the symptoms of being too tired, like exhausted even, And you can name it in a different way. Sometimes it's related with a certain part in your body. Sometimes it's more like from the mind, fog, depression-like state. But basically you are over the line of your life energy because you are so you are just so self-dependent, so to say. You're just so independent, by myself, all under my control, until you will reach the emptiness in you, the emptiness which shows up in the signs of symptoms and diseases.
And that's such an important thing for women to know, because I think we're told nowadays that we should be able to do everything and have everything. You should have children and a huge career, and everything's going to work out well. And it can be so overwhelming to think that all these parts of your life have to be blooming simultaneously. It's really hard. And at a certain time, like my children were pretty young when I started to study astrology, and it was tough. I had, it was really hard to juggle everything. And even, it even is nowadays, like now with COVID, it's crazy. Every week there's something that I have to respond to and drop this and change this and whatever. So I think to what you were saying, like we have to be aware of our energy and then let other energy come and feed us. We're not actually, we don't need to be super women all the time. You know, we can take some time off.
Yeah, especially that many times there's this silent suffering underneath. Like, you know, the work and children story and husband sometimes as well. It's just something visible. Yeah, she's there, a little bit more makeup, looking tired, but refreshed by her new cream. Yeah. And the kids are alive. Yeah, husband is there. But you know what I found out to be missing from this picture is this sexual connection, this intimate time that we have together with our partners. That sometimes this is the highest price that we pay for this, wanting this all at the same time. And funnily enough, being in this culture which is so open to talk about, you know, sex and sexual experiences, this is still like a taboo topic.
Right.
Really often during the consultations with my clients, we reach to this point, which is like a silent suffering because nobody asked before. Right. And this is the first time that she can reveal what is this price of wanting this, you know, all of this at once.
All of this at once, yeah.
And how people are sometimes settling down with this price. Like, if it's the price, I will pay it. Yeah, who needs sex?
Yeah, right. And I would say that too, that sex and creative energy are pretty much one and the same.
Exactly.
And if we're not like in our creativity, which is very natural for women, we're not really sexual.
Yeah.
Like, because it's just a natural energy that runs. It doesn't have to, you don't have to be turned on by someone. You're just naturally turned on by your life. But if you're doing things that are draining you, if they're too many shoulds, it's very hard to have that energy run in your body. You're just dead. Yeah.
Yeah. Trapped. Yeah. Sometimes people feel like this. It's like stuck, trapped, like, It's definitely the feeling of being, and like it's not even not aligned. It's like depleted. Yeah, there's nothing I can do with my reality. There's a sort of you know, I'm hopeless. I cannot influence because the creativity. It means painting and other creative things, but it also basically it means create your life.
Exactly. Yeah, I think we limit creativity too much to I'm an artist or whatever. No, like when I left painting, I felt very creative as an astrologer because I was really turned on by it as an expression, right?
Yeah.
So what your life needs to turn you on, and it needs to feel creative, whether you're cooking dinner or whatever it is. Like whatever it is needs to make you feel alive, and then you're fully in your sexuality. But I think sometimes we make so many choices in order to be successful, quote unquote, you know, or maybe to have things. And then, but inside we're not feeding ourselves at all. And so all of that natural creativity is just gone. Like it's gone. And I found that writing for me was a much higher level of creativity than even astrology. So I think that was the big turn on for me too. Like, wow, I love how I feel when I write. I feel so alive. Yeah.
Nourishing, yeah?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. From our recent meeting with Elena, I wrote down the sentence, the well-being is a foundation of abundance. And it was really beautiful sentence that she shared. And actually, we are in this space when we can create the success, and we are creating the success, but we are very mindful of how do we feel while creating the success, not waiting 10 years to enjoy it, being sick and sad.
Right. Yep.
But really checking on a daily basis. Do I really want to be on Instagram? If it's draining my energy, maybe it's no need to run, like you said, the website or the social media profiles. If it's not your pair of shoes, we say it like this in Polish. I don't know if you have this expression in English, that it's not your pair of shoes, that you don't have to force yourself to wear it. Them. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like I've been told, well, everything is your email list. I have a very small email list, and yet I can fill all my workshops. I can have like a $7,000 month. I can do this and that. I've done all those things without actually checking those boxes that I was told I had to check. And that to me blew my mind. Like, oh, actually, it's completely how I do things, and not constantly trying to do it another way that doesn't actually suit me. But I've done that myself, gone stuck in that trap and trying to do stuff that just doesn't really pay off in the end. Yeah. It comes back, I guess, to instinct, to really being clear on what you want to do and how you want to do it.
Yes. We need more examples of this, that you can create the success in your way, really respecting also the energy level which you feel on a daily basis. I remember some interesting story when you were, now we know, coming to the end of your practice with boundaries, that the universe was sending you some clients with some interesting demands. And then I remember this, like those questions flying around, if it's okay to do it, or do I really want this, setting the boundaries for the clients. But then in the following months, we understood that it's setting the boundaries for the astrology itself, saying to astrology, goodbye, my love. It was fun. And see you next time.
See you maybe later. Not sure. But
not sure.
And it's funny because astrology, I'm always going to use it on myself. Right. I thought, what a great personal tool. It's so great actually to be involved in anything that helps you grow yourself, like Ayurveda. You're growing you and you're helping other people at the same time. Like, what a benefit if you use it either way.
Yes.
Right? It's such a blessing that we have actually so many of these avenues now that are opening up. And to say to people, like, more as the world shifts, more and more people will be open to practices like Ayurveda, like astrology, and you may not have met those people yet, but trust me, they're coming. Well, they're already here. Like, I have so many people who I can talk to, about this sort of stuff, who are open to it. Like, I wouldn't have thought actually that there was such a large community on planet Earth, but there is.
Gross,
they may not be your next door neighbor. You may find them online, but they're there. And I think it's going to just keep growing as the world shifts. More and more people interested in how do I use energy? How do I live in a way that feels really good to me and that is beyond accomplishment and what other people consider success? Or how do I be like super successful but completely in my own like integrity? More and more that's just the way to go.
It's just like an idea for tattoo, My clients are there, Keep remember.
Oh yeah,
because sometimes,
they really are, and I've noticed too that you'll get exactly the clients you need for exactly the reason you need, and exactly the right number you need. For wherever you are in your growth as a person, like the right stuff shows up, and we tend to, I think, judge too much. And I think we judge too much against a standard that is not our standard, first of all. Anything standardized, people like us don't fit into the standard. So what's the point? And then also, I think we tend to undervalue what we already have. I think if people actually took a step back and looked at their lives, they realize actually they have a lot of advantages that they're not even taking into account. So we're always striving, but we already have so much. Most of us, we really do. And if you have time to listen to this podcast, you have abundance in your life in many ways, because you have the time even to listen to podcasts.
Yes.
Right?
It's possible, in many ways.
Yeah,
you're right. I have such a good experiences with astrology, and yet again, I love what you said at the very end. That there's abundance of clients for us holistic practitioners and other other
fields
fields, let's put it this way. I remember that when last year, when I felt a little bit like shaky, what's going on with the business, with the clients, with the whole situation, I went for a consultation online with a Polish astrologer, and actually it was 4 hours altogether, 2 meetings, but just the very opening line was enough to, it was enough of the support that I needed. So he said, like, you can relax. Your field is growing. It's expanding like never before. Yeah, you will have so many clients because people are just so in need for this holistic, personal approach full of listening. And, it can be one-on-one groups. It can be also through books like you are doing now, but basically touching them, from in a different way, speaking directly to their hearts, using mind only as a tool to understand the letters, as a side notes almost, because the first impression is more of the energy impression.
Yeah, absolutely. And so on the one hand, it looks like the world is falling apart, but it's not really. Like all these blessings are happening at the same time, and these opportunities to heal are happening at the same time.
It's a little bit like this phoenix,
Yeah.
Flames.
Yes. And rebirth. Rebirth. Yeah.
Yeah, let's stay with this optimistic thought, Okay. That we are going to be busy, like in those fields connected with healing, with understanding each other on a deeper level, with going beyond the differences. And also what I loved, what you said before, that we are just tuning in what feels right for ourselves. So it means that it can be different for me, different for you. It's not based on an opinion. It's not a topic of discussion,
Yep.
It's from a different space of really feeling. Is it right or wrong? Or, what should I do? Like, what do I feel that it's good for me? Like this feeling,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, what a beautiful life you'd have if you just followed your feelings. And then just allowed yourself to see what happens by the end. Like, wow, imagine. All the beautiful surprises that will happen.
Yes. And being grateful for this,
Yeah, exactly.
Once the whole story is visible. So we already know that your website is somewhere there, but it's not relevant. So if someone by any chance would like to connect to you, I don't know, maybe for asking where to go to actually learn astrology or for some other reason, what would you say?
Well, you can find me on Facebook and also on Instagram. My account at the moment is private, but I'm going to open it back up again. I just had a moment of needing to make my boundaries.
Open up. I was expecting, you to say like, no, please don't. Don't contact me. I love you.
Don't contact me. No, I still like people. So my name is Kate Rusco, Katerusco. And you can find me at Kate Rusco on Instagram and Facebook as well. That's the easiest place because I do enjoy those contacts.
Yeah. Great talking to you, Kate. I really enjoy it.
Thanks for having me, Maria. It was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, and all the best for your writing part of, personal development and professional one.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Dziękuję Ci za wspólnie spędzony czas. Wejdź na stronę agni-ajurweda.pl/90, gdzie znajdziesz notatki do tego odcinka podcastu. A jeśli temat Dharmy jest Ci bliski i serce mocniej Ci zabiło, to zapraszam Cię do 5 dni odkrywania Dharmy z Ajurwedą, a potem do trwającego 9 miesięcy kursu Dharma z Ajurwedą, który jest kursem dla osób, które słyszą głos w duszy, słyszą te cudowne podszepty dotyczące tego, w którą stronę się kierować, co wybierać jako priorytet w codziennym życiu, w tygodniu i w miesiącu, po to, żeby żyć w sposób pełen pasji, poczucia spełnienia i głębokiej satysfakcji z tej planszy, na której teraz jesteś. Zatem zerknij na linki pod tym odcinkiem podcastu, korzystaj śmiało, zaczerpnij z tematu Dharmy, czyli Bożej iskry wpisanej w Twoje istnienie od momentu poczęcia. Wszystkiego dobrego, kochana, dla Ciebie i Twoich bliskich.